Welcome, everybody, to the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, as always, Manny Maradiaga. Bring you guys four new segments and stories around the NFL and discussions we can have here today around the league, free agency, trade rumors, all that is coming up on the show. On the show specifically, we're going to talk about Mac Jones and what his trade value could be in the market. Some more Steelers trade rumors, this time around a wide receiver. Find out who that player is and why these rumors are starting to come up. That's later on in the show. After that, I have my winners and losers from the NFL Combine that just finished up a few days ago over the weekend. Before I wrap it all up with the best wide receivers available after the Mike Evans deal that just concluded a few days ago, signing that extension with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's still a lot of good free agents out there. I'm going to break that all down and give you my list of 3 wide receivers that I see fitting in best at other teams or potentially staying where they are right now. Before I jump into the first segment, I want to remind you guys, if you have any questions, want to engage with the show, please use the tip and donations link that you see running across the ticker down below me. Looking at that link, if you use it, it's GSMCPodcast.net. Use it with any questions that you have. It makes it easier for me to read the question. It pops up to the right-hand side of me, just one by one down the line, and I can engage with you guys, read your questions, comments, anything that you guys might pop into your head as the show goes on. It makes the show a lot more fun. And it's a lot more engaging with you guys commenting and just reacting to some of the stuff I say. It's also of massive help for the show. Not only this show, but all the shows across the network. And it's greatly appreciated every time you guys use that link, the tip and donations link, GSMCPodcast.net. In saying that, I could get started with the first segment that I mentioned before. Mac Jones and the New England Patriots, the chip shot story of the day, kicking off the show. Mac Jones and the New England Patriots are in a spot that I don't think a lot of people would have guessed a few years back when Mac Jones fell to the Patriots in that draft. I want to say it was 2021. And just in that draft alone, there was a lot of talent going around the top 3 picks, the top picks. Who was going to get drafted? Were the Niners going to make a trade up? Were the Patriots going to make a trade up? And then nothing really happened in that draft class until New England just stayed put at 15 and they had Mac Jones fall to them. And at that point, it was presumed that Mac Jones was going to step into this new Patriots team that was still pretty talented in a good division, don't get me wrong, but Mac Jones was supposed to step in after Tom Brady, and they almost kind of had the same report card or NFL Combine tape. Brady and Jones, pocket passers, not really too athletic outside the pocket, aren't able to create the kind of plays that a Rodgers or a Mahomes could create, but they were cerebral. They could move well in the pocket. They were very intelligent. And that was sort of the story coming out of the draft with Mac Jones. And for the Pats to have him fall to him in the 2021 draft at 15 was almost like a steal because everyone assumed that Bill Belichick basically had the same quarterback and same system still in place since Tom Brady left. And they could just hit the ground running. And it almost worked out that way just because in his first season as a rookie, Mac Jones was very impressive, actually. Made a Pro Bowl that year as a rookie. Completed almost 68% of his passes. Threw for over 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. He led the Patriots to the playoffs. They didn't do great in those playoffs in that game against the Bills. But, regardless of that individually, Mac Jones made the Pro Bowl. Everyone was pretty impressed with what he was able to do as a rookie. And, just looking after that, off of that, how could he get better? The numbers already as a rookie were pretty impressive for throw for almost 4,000 yards. But then he hit a bit of a bump in the road in 2022. And that was, a downgrade. A lot of people could have predicted that. But then last year, He really took a tumble, and it was really bad out there on the field in terms of production and just the stats and everything. He threw for barely 2,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. And in total, the Patriots went 4-13, the worst record under Bill Belichick in his career. But Mac Jones was in and out of the lineup, starting over Bailey Zappi some games. Zappi got the start over him in some games after Mac Jones also was dealing with a good amount of injuries. He went 2-9 as a starter and was benched last season, like I mentioned, to Bailey Zappi. And, playing 11 games, being benched, and having that bad of a record now brings us to the point where, Bill Belichick is gone. The Patriots made that decision to move on from him. They moved on from a lot of personnel and a lot of players that they've had in their locker room. And now you get this new chapter for the Patriots under a new head coach, Gerard Mayo. It seems like forever that Bill Belichick has been there, the success that they had, the dynasty, obviously, that they've had. To see them now go into this full transition rebuild mode, it was supposed to start with Mac Jones and just continue on. Definitely a little bit worse than, obviously, Tom Brady, who's the greatest of all time. But now that was almost very misleading with Mac Jones. For a season, everyone thought he was what he was supposed to be. Then it kind of just tailed off towards the end. And now it's kind of taking you even further back in a way because you thought you had your quarterback and you didn't. It all didn't work out. Now you have to reset everything again back compared to back when you thought you could just take it running with Mac Jones. So that's one thing that's an issue with Mac Jones and just where the Patriots are. And I think at this point with the Patriots and where they sit in terms of their fans and everything, I think this is good in a way just because, they could only go so long, I'm assuming, with seeing just kind of plugs being plugged into holes just to kind of stop the bleeding for a little bit. And now all these fans are so used to success year in and year out. I think it's come to a point now with all these quarterbacks that with Bill Belichick as well, it's hard to say we want to get rid of Bill. It's over. He's done. He has nothing more to give because he's arguably the greatest coach of all time. People have had that debate. People will continue to have that debate. That's up to you guys to decide. But they finally decided to move on from him, and now it's time to bring in somebody new. They have the number 3 pick overall in the draft. And that obviously brings a lot of excitement, but there's still a lot of holes to fill with this team other than what you can get from Mac Jones. Mac Jones can contribute to that a little bit, just talks around the league, talks around executives and what people have been hearing. One report is that, 3 NFL front office executives estimate that Mac Jones' trade value is around a 5th rounder right now, while others say that the Patriots would be lucky, in their words, to get a 6th rounder in exchange for Mac Jones up to this point. That's according to Andrew Callahan and Doug Kyed of the Boston Herald. And those are pretty strong words just because of everything I mentioned already before with Mac Jones, the success he had early on. Nobody would have ever imagined you're talking right now after his 4th year now? His 4th year that he could barely muster a 6th or a 5th round pick in exchange for Mac Jones, a 1st round pick, 15th overall. It's crazy to where we've gone, but I think this has all kind of slowly been building in a way to kind of contradict that. And, there was also those moments on the field where I'm not going to say Mac is a dirty player because, you got to know the guy really to say something like that. But he has had actions where he's kicked a guy maybe below the belt or he's just done other extracurricular things that people have noticed. Everything's caught on camera. You can't really escape that. And he's done it on multiple occasions now. And that also plays into account this negative narrative around Mac Jones because of that extracurricular stuff. And if you don't back it up on the field, where do you expect to be if people are just going to jump on you after every mistake you make. You're giving them more reason to support that negative narrative and then just run with it. If you're not backing it up, and if you're also doing all this other extra stuff, it's not going to pan out for you, especially with the Patriots, because they're up to a point, like I mentioned, with the fans and the organization, where they're at that breaking point where they had to change something, and they've clearly cleared house completely. And now Mac Jones, they're trying to gauge where they could go with Mac Jones. He's only 25 years old in saying that, and it begs the question of what is it going to take for him to start again? Could he be a starter again? I think if he cleans up some of those other stuff, like I mentioned, the kicking people below the groin or just doing all this extra stuff, I think if he cleans that up and then just finds a home with the Rams or something like that, or the Raiders, who are sitting in a tricky spot in the NFL draft, I think he could compete for jobs there. Matthew Stafford will obviously be the starter with the Rams, but in a year or two, who knows the level of Matthew Stafford. And if you have Mac Jones sitting there, what do you have to lose to try him out, maybe play him? Sean McVay's a great head coach offensive-wise, and I'm sure he could find a way to reignite the career of Mac Jones around all the weapons that they now have with Cooper Kupp, Puka, Kyron Williams. I think he needs to be surrounded around a lot of talent with a team, kind of like a Brock Purdy. I'm not calling him a game manager. I'm not saying that. If that's a good thing or a bad thing, who knows? But I think he needs a lot more support than all these other guys, like a Pat Mahomes, like a CJ Stroud, Joe Burrow. I think Mac needs a bit more support, and he didn't have that in New England as well. They didn't do an adequate job of providing that for him, and now we're up to this point, and I'm not saying it's over for Mac Jones, but we're trying to gauge where he could end up and what the Patriots could get back for him, because to spend a first-round pick on him and now to barely get a fifth or a sixth, they're going to try to get wherever they want at this point and just move on from him and most likely draft a quarterback number 3 overall, but there's also been rumors of them trying to sign a veteran to mature with the rookie quarterback and then take it from there, taking a lot more calculated approach to their quarterback search rather than just throwing in the rookie and gambling to maybe pan out like Mac Jones in his first season, but they want to see consistency of success with the rookie. So they're not going to rush it this time. I think that's smart. And, I'm looking forward to see where Mac Jones goes. I think it would be very interesting to see what kind of system fits him and what kind of team takes a gamble on him to see what they can get out of him, because he did show talent and some promise in the NFL and obviously at Alabama. So it is there. I think a coach, an organization, a team just has to find it again and reignite it to get him going again. But I'm going to leave that conversation there. We're going to move on to the next topic. That's around the Steelers, but that will be coming up after the break. The Steelers are constantly in trade rumors around quarterback. Who's going to be the quarterback? Is it Kenny Pickett? Is it not Kenny Pickett? This time, more trade rumors, but about a wide receiver. One of their wide receivers is reportedly unhappy, and the Steelers could be open to trading him for potentially the right price. So find out who that is and why that is after the break. You're watching the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network.